Yeah, well,
Congratulations on Jeepers Creepers.
thank you very much.
So I'm going to ask the silliest question I've got to start with. Are you a fan of horror?
That is yes. And you know, for me, it's very easy answer. Obviously, I am a fan of horror, and I know that it was the first film genre that I became a fan of. And later on, became also a huge sci-fi fan, but it all started definitely with horror, and it did start with. I think it started off with some of those Christopher Lee old vampire movies, which my friends uncle had on a VHS tape hidden away from the kids, and we knew where they were, so we stole them and we watched them, and then but we always had to know where they were, like and so we had to rewind it to exactly to the same spot. So he was watching them like, you know, clip by clip or whatever. So didn't want to tell them tell him that we were watching them, but yeah, we were way too young for that, way too young.
What are some of your favorite horror movies? What would be your influences? Some of your own personals?
I think, like I said, those Christopher Lee stuff that in the beginning was definitely something that I really liked. But I think later on, it definitely were the creature ones. There were the Freddy's and the Jasons out there. But I think uh, ha, Alien has been number one horror film because it also combines my other love, which is sci-fi, and I think it's masterfully crafted movie. And I just, you know, can't stop watching it. I come back to it every, you know, once a year at least, and it's a beautiful movie.
With like such diversity as well, just for the Jeepers Creepers fans out there, there is a diversity among the community with everything to do with Victor Salva. Were you hesitant about jumping into the franchise?
Yeah, definitely. That was my first question. Was of course like when I got the script, the first question was, wait a minute, this is Jeepers Creepers. Like, is that the director going to be involved? And but the producer said that no, that he's not involved in any way, and this he doesn't have any input, and you know, he doesn't have any gains from this one. So that eased my heart enough that I was able to say, all right, you know what, I think uh, it's it's a troubled franchise, but I really remember loving the first Jeepers Creepers quite a lot, and I thought that it's a worthy cause to try start, jump on board, especially now that Victor is not involved in any way, and that was really key for me.
And you can also tell you're a fan of the first one because of the opening of Reborn is just sort of like a homage to the car scene at the beginning of the original movie.
That's true, but also it's good to note that the car scene in the original movie is an actual homage to an old 1990s episode of Unsolved Mysteries, where this whole Jeepers Creepers myth is very loosely based on. And actually, what I did was instead of trying to you know, reenact the opening of Jeepers Creepers, number one, what I did was I tried to sort of, I went back into that original video, that Unsolved Mysteries episode, and tried to grasp sort of that atmosphere from there. It was obviously, it was kind of TV 90s thing, but it had fun thing. And what I liked about it was that there was no supernatural element in that. There was just a guy chasing an old couple with a car. That was the original story. And this story is the story of Dennis the Pooh, who is who was then a convicted felon who was doing that kind of stuff, and eventually got chased down by cars, and eventually I think he killed himself. That was the very beginning of the Creeper story, and then eventually, obviously, Victor Salva created Jeepers Creepers of that. But I wanted to go even deeper there and revisit that sequence in that show.
And I believe you shot the movie during COVID, is that correct?
Yeah, it was during a COVID time, so we had a lot of issues, obviously, trying to figure out how to make the whole production work, because it was very kind of very early stages of COVID also, because it was before there was any kind of vaccinations or any kind of sort of, we didn't really know what, you know, there was a new strain of this virus is coming up every 2 weeks. So, and everybody, the whole world was in absolute disarray. And right at the time we needed to start shooting, and it was quite a trick. I mean, first just to get me to USA, because obviously I live in Finland. USA had shut all of its borders, so there was no way from anybody from Europe to fly over to US. So the only way we found out was to fly to Dubai, stay 2 weeks in Dubai, then fly over to to USA, because that was the only place where they actually allowed people to come in. And then obviously sort of reinventing the whole production process, because now you had to create and recreate all these safety measures and everything, and it was just quite a horror. And then eventually, when we shot this film, obviously in Louisiana, USA, and then in UK, we finished the shoot just before Christmas. I was about to head back home for Christmas, and then whole UK closed down. So I was now stuck in UK. I couldn't go anywhere because there was the new strain of virus that just popped up, and then nobody was allowed to go anywhere. I was like, that's a crazy thing. So it did bring a bit of a curve to the whole thing. But there's also kind of, I think, like there was something, because at the same time the crew needed to be very tight together. So we were like a really tight-knit unit, in a very different way than in normal film, because in normal film you come to the shooting place, then you shoot the film, you go home for the night. But we couldn't do that, obviously, because basic idea was that we needed to create a bubble while we were shooting, and everybody needed to stay in the bubble, and that was the only way. And so we actually created quite an interesting interesting situation within the crew, and it was, I think, in many ways pretty cool thing.
And the movie, it comes across, it's really good. It's really well put together. How long did it take to like sort of get the makeup effects for the creeper and all that done? Because you can clearly tell the makeup is just as good as the originals.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks a lot. It was, I think that was obviously the biggest hurdle was the makeup, and for many reasons. And actually COVID was one of the reasons, because just the fact that what you normally do is when you do makeup, you're able to do multiple tests on the actor just to see how it is, and sort of get to know, rehearse to make the makeup and make it as fast as possible. We didn't have that luxury, because arranging any kind of meetings between people, it was just very complicated at that time. So we had to try to minimize all the contact as possible. And then of course that just creating, I mean, it's a big makeup, and my point was, my whole idea was that I want to create a creature that is fully a creature itself. The only thing that I said that can be CG is the wings, because obviously those would have been pretty much impossible to do within any kind of reasonable budget. But everything else I wanted to be more or less real. So we created this makeup and apply that. I think it took anything from 4 to 8 hours every day, and the actor was basically not able to do that until the end of the day. And Gerard Benjamin, who was the actor, just went through quite an excruciating experience to portray. But I think he seemed to love it. I mean, he was I couldn't really talk to him too much about it, because basically when he was in the makeup, he couldn't really talk because the way it was made. So I have no idea how he was feeling. And I think everybody on the set were like, we don't know how he's feeling, because he look, obviously the makeup, he looks like he's angry all the time. He's not like that guy at all. He's the most chillest guy you can imagine. But when you put the makeup on and the costume, everybody was a little afraid of him. And then you couldn't really approach him like, how are you feeling? Do you need something? Or because he just couldn't speak, and that was quite a hurdle. But yeah, I think it was very, very interesting. I really loved working with the practical makeup. I think that's a very nice element.
And then, is it correct as well? This is the first of a trilogy.
That's the idea. Yeah, obviously I don't know exactly what the producers have planned, because this is still I know that this was the film that I was to do, and there are suggestions that the story might continue, but it's up to the producers to decide which way and with whom and all that. But definitely the idea is to continue the story from here.
Is the idea as well to continue having you on as director through parts 2 and 3?
That's been in the discussion, but it's also been discussion that, you know, it all depends on where the script is going to go, and you know, whether they are looking for somebody else, or do they want to work with me, and then I have to read and see if I like the story. You know, it's a process which none of us has yet committed. Everything has to do so much to, you know, which is the next step and where are we going to go with it.
You'd think it would take place though, wouldn't you, in the same timeline and go through the whole 23-day period that starts in Reborn?
It's a good question. I really don't want to go and start guessing, because I don't know. One would have to ask from the producers or the writers what they have in mind. But I mean, that's one possibility. I think there are the possibilities, obviously, to go back in time and sort of like learn something about the origins of creature, or visit some other point in time. But I really don't know what it is that they will be they have in mind.
When you initially started up with the production of this, was Jonathan Breck set to reprise the role as the Creeper, or did you always have it in mind just to recast the role altogether?
I came on board a little bit later, so I don't know exactly all the discussions in the beginning. So I can't say for sure. But what I know is that when I came on board, and to me, when I read the script for the first time, obviously my first thing was that we're going to need to have a different looking creeper in this one, because this time with the story is slightly slightly sidetracking from what the original was, and I wanted to have a different kind of physique, a different kind of you know, different type of a creeper in this one, and it was already mentioned in the script that it is different kind. So to me, it was quite clear from the beginning that we're going to be looking for somebody else and then we began the process, and I think we went through about 1,000 different people and audition tapes before we ended up with Jared, and yeah, that was quite a job to find the right person.
In your own opinion of the whole Jeepers universe, would you say there is only one creeper out there, or would you say there's a whole different set of creepers, sort of like the Predator, for instance?
That's a good question. I would say, if you ask me right now, I would say that there's only one creeper, but there are multiple stories about the creeper, and it depends on which story you want to believe and listen to and get into. You that's the creeper that's there. So I know it's a political answer because it leaves a lot to do, you know, a lot to think for, but I think that's what I think.
So after Jeepers Creepers Reborn, what's next for you?
Right now I'm working on a sort of a airplane hijack thriller, 97 minutes, and then there is a sci-fi film which I'm interested to jump on board. You know, fingers crossed if that's going to happen, who knows. But those are the two things that are currently in development, and then obviously I'm discussing with the Creepers producers, like which direction they're going to go, and then talking, you know, and then there's a bunch of projects. That's the thing about being a filmmaker, is like, you don't have to have 20 different projects going on. You never know what's the one that moves and suddenly stops, and then something else moves, and like you have to dabble with quite a lot of projects when you're not shooting, so that when you're shooting you are, you know, completely focused on whatever it is that you're shooting right then.
Well, congratulations anyway on the release of Jeepers Creepers. I believe it's released on the 10th on DVD and Blu-ray and digital.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed all goes well and we do get
Yep.
to see the trilogy with you at the helm.
I think so. That would be the amazing thing. So let's hope for the best.
Thanks so much for your time, Timo. It's been a
Thank you,
blast.